A year ago, I was invited to attend this special luncheon as a guest of Luz Alvarado. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend because I could not afford to take off of work. In April of 2017, I took 2 weeks off to testify against the man who perpetrated a horrific onslaught of mental, physical, and emotional abuse. I was strategically targeted by a sophisticated, calculated serial predator. His name is Ronald Freeman. I became his obsession. I was prey. I may or may not look to you like a typical victim of domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking, but I can assure you that domestic violence does not discriminate. I'm 44 years old. I'm divorced. I'm a single mother who has a beautiful, precocious 7-year-old child. I'm a professional executive at a large corporation where I have worked for 18 years. I moved to the Bay Area 13 years ago. If someone would have told me I would be consumed by the terrorizing, crippling fear and anxiety from a close personal relationship, I would not have believed it to be true. But that is exactly what happened to me. It started almost 3 years ago when I was befriended by Mr. Freeman. My son and I recently moved to a new neighborhood where we would frequent the local pool. My son loves swimming. This is where we met Ron. He said he lived in the area and was a local TV, radio, music producer. Most recently working for PBS, he had a law degree from Stanford, served in the military as a pilot, and was a master boat builder. Friendly, charming, and unassuming, I didn't sense a threat. The next day, Mr. Freeman disclosed to the neighbors and I that he was terminally ill with pancreatic cancer. He had only a few months to live. Empathetically and sympathetically, we all extended our hands and our compassionate hearts, letting him know we would be happy to help him in any way. He swiftly took me up on the offer. Stopping by my place every day to chat turned into him needing to lie down because he was so sick. Soon he would be resting on my couch and falling asleep. Next, he would need to borrow my car or have me drop him off at the hospital on my way to work. He claimed he was always spitting up blood. Clearly, he was dying. I was doing a good deed and building a friendship at the same time as he was staging his next deceptive move to control my life and deplete my finances. The depth and breadth of his terror is almost unfathomable. It is not something I can easily summarize in 4 minutes. A living nightmare with more plot, twists, and turns, my story resembles a 48-hour TV special. First, let me share the good news, and then I can tell you why I'm standing here today. The good news is we're all lucky. Mr. Freeman is not a free man. During the 8-day trial, Mr. Freeman reveled in representing himself as his own counsel, pro per. So he could continue to use the judicial system to boost his ego and further control and abuse me. He got to personally cross-examine me. He even asked me to describe in detail how he raped me. Later, he was allowed to call me back to be his witness. Ultimately, he was found guilty on all 8 counts. He received maximum sentence of 8 years and is down the street in San Quentin. It took 8 months from the conviction to sentencing, which seemed like forever. But do you want to know how long I actually knew him and for how long I considered him harmless and unaware of his plot? 88 days. Less than 3 months. From the first arrest to the final sentencing, 766 days passed. That's 2 years and 9 months from a man I knew less than 3 months. He repeatedly violated restraining orders with hundreds of text messages and phone calls. He knew where I was. He followed me. He even damaged my car. He upped his game when he began taunting and threatening my ex-husband. He called and left my parents in Ohio voicemails telling them I was in grave danger and Bram, my ex-husband, is dead. His funeral is tomorrow. Anything he could do to harass, defame, and document his bizarre and unsettling thinking towards me and other victims, he did. He even created outtakes from the movie he was said to be making called Stalker. The outtakes are taken from a handheld cell phone inside of a car wearing a black hoodie where he psychotically rants about past and future predatory, obsessive deeds. The judge stated during sentencing his conduct involved sophistication, planning, and deliberation. Turns out he had an extensive criminal record. I wasn't his only victim, but he learned with each of his victims what to do to create a tremendous amount of fear and shame so they would never come forward. He lied about everything, including the terminal cancer. It took me almost 3 months to figure that out, but I figured it out. And I'm standing here today because of the belief and support of Luz and her wonderful team of advocates, Linda and Laura, my attorneys, the Marin County sheriffs, the district attorneys, friends, and family. Not having family here in the Bay Area, I didn't know who to trust or who to turn to when I was in a state of shock. The Center for Domestic Peace counseled me when I needed the most, and they stood by me every day, the pretrial, trial, and any court hearing in between. With acceptance and without judgment, they were there with me. I felt their strength when I couldn't find my own. They empowered me to believe that justice does prevail. I was guided to the Center for Domestic Peace, and I am a living example, and I'm eternally grateful that they saved 2 lives, mine and my son Asher. That is why I'm here today, because of you, because of all of you who support this organization. Thank you.